What's up, guys? It's Philip A. Croshan, I Am Creature Science at IamCreatureScience.com. Today we are in Group A, Upper Chest of the Movement Mastery Database, and this is internal humeral circumduction. Now, all these words are anatomical reference points, or movement reference points, and it's important that we lead with that so we actually know what we're doing. I'll give you a quick story. During my undergrad, I had a professor named Dr. Tyler Martin. Genius when it comes to movement. You know, he did a little stint at professional baseball and he taught me a lot. And one thing that he said to me that always sticks out is we've lost our anatomical reference point on movement, and that's why movement is now so how do you describe it? Dysfunctional. You know, if your only reference to training your biceps is a bicep curl, then what you have to do is remember hundreds of these exercises just because they're exercises. When rather we're saying, oh, okay, we need to go into bicep flexion against resistance. That makes a lot more sense because it is defining the movement based off of the joint range of motion, and we can even go so deep into talking about the planes of motion, and many a times that we will. So, internal humeral circumduction, we're talking about internally rotating the humerus, and then we're going to go into circumduction here at the chest. So, as we're doing this, and I usually use about 2.5 pounds, the fibers shaped here at the chest, the anterior delt, they are aligned in a way that they pull and rotate in, and without me even having to do anything, just allowing them to rotate the humerus at the shoulder, I'm already contracting my chest significantly. Now, as I come back out, between the chest, the shoulder, and this trap rhomboid type of complex, we have all of this range of motion. All of this range of motion. We can come here with it. We can come here with it. Therefore, we should train it all. We should train in the coronal plane. We should train in the sagittal plane, and we should train in the transverse plane. That's what we're going to do. So within this internal humeral circumduction, the transverse plane is the internal rotation. As we come up, we're moving in the sagittal plane. As we're coming down, we're moving in the coronal plane. And we're just going to repeat that process. Pay attention to where my thumb is, because it'll tell you what to do with your humerus. Right now, I'm internally rotating. As I come up, I'm naturally going to come out to some external rotation and repeat that process. This movement is not going to feel like a maximal bench press. It's not going to feel like a squat because we're not going through you're not going through the entire muscle fiber so fast. This penne muscle that we're working on the chest is not a here to here movement. It takes its time. It's going to be one of those low fires. It's going to burn real smooth like, and that's what you want. That's how you're going to sit up and keep that gentleman's posture if you're a man, and for a woman if you want to sit up and have that cleavage. This is where it comes from. It's the function. The look is based off the function. So the first thing that we're going to tell you to do as we're going through this internal humeral circumduction is create space at the shoulder joint. What I mean by that is, a lot of times you don't realize it, but you may actually be here, kind of shrugged up, rather than here. And as you extend all the way out without bending over the hip, just extending out the shoulder, there are small muscles within that rotator cuff that get stretched out to this capacity. And it may feel like you have less strength moving it while they're stretched out, but it's only because you haven't trained them to be strong in a lengthened position. You've only trained them when they're here, or in fact, it's the lack of training. You haven't trained them. Let's say that in this example, my left hand is going to represent my right pectoral, and my right hand is going to represent kind of the most extreme parts of this anterior and medial delt. Everything in between here and here is bunched up And as I'm moving the arm, they're not getting activated. But as I stretch it out by extending or distending at the shoulder, the glenohumeral joint, we're going to get all the strength that we can. So that's going to be the first part of the movement. As you're coming to anatomical position, make sure that you're reaching as far as you can to the left, as far as you can to the right. Grab your weights. I got 2.5 right here. I personally prefer doing these with the 2.5 pound plates. Those 2.5 pound plates allows me to open up my hand some and really get into more of a functional movement than gripping the dumbbell, but this is fine. So anatomical position, I'm gonna reach out as far as left as I can, as far right as I can. Right there, you immediately see the serratus anterior and the lats becoming activated, something we talk about all the time. We're gonna internally rotate, head up. As we internally rotate, we're creating medial forces on the chest. Now we're gonna work into that sagittal plane. Now we're working that upper chest. Start to externally rotate, come down in the coronal plane. Make sure you come all the way back. I don't want the biceps in front of the eyes. And repeat that motion. Now right now, I'm doing this pretty slowly, but I want this movement to become unconscious. To the point where you're moving as smoothly as possible, because that's how movement really is. It's not supposed to be disjointed. What happens is, we're always talking symmetry, right? I want to show you something. You may have heard of something called limb length discrepancy. You know, oh, I got a longer leg than my other. There's some truth to it. There's some falsity to it. It's about how you hold it, how you've used it. Your limbs are intended to be symmetrical. So, I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna go into some internal humeral circumduction. And because my body is symmetrical, if my hands don't meet at the same place in the start, the more I let them start to auto-regulate with that movement, they're gonna meet the exact same place, the exact same time. I won't look, I won't try to keep my hands from smacking each other and breaking a thumb. They're just gonna meet and smack, you're gonna hear a clap. And right at that clap, I'm gonna have the most amount of power when it comes to flexion or horizontal abduction in my body all at one point. So let's see what we can do. And you may feel like your hand's gonna come off your wrist. It's fine, I'm generating so much circular force coming through that the body's taking care of itself. I don't have to think about anything. So as I come in with the internal circumduction, come all the way through, I'm favoring the chest. Look, man, this stuff, I know it seems amazing. It is amazing. It's not like magic, it is magic. Eternally rhetorical. How do you move?